Thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team, every single day. Hello, I'm Stephen Willis from the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, and I'm joined, like I always am, after Ole Miss basketball games by Tim Thomas to talk about Ole Miss dropping a game in Starkville to Mississippi State. How you doing, Tim?
Doing pretty good. Coach Beard's not too happy today and last night. Frustrated. I'm not sure what all you say, but I think it's the first technical he's got this year. He's not real happy with the referees and with his team.
Yeah, it was one of those situations where they actually played poorly to start the game, and Mississippi State jumped on them a little bit like we kind of thought they would. They fought all the way back into it and led at halftime. And then the second half, they just, the intensity kind of left after halftime, it looked like to me.
Yeah, the intensity, I think that frustrated Beard as much as the referees. He had guys that turnovers, Juju just dropping the ball, letting the ball go, 5 turnovers. I think they had 10 in the second half, 17 overall, just silly plays, falling down. I don't know if the floor was wet. Several times the guy just slipped down, fall down, do a little move and fall down. And one time Morrell, they threw it right to him and he wasn't focusing. They went right through him out of bounds, just a little silly stuff. The rebounding was suspect too. You know, Beard was mad about the foul situation, and he's right. I mean, Tulu Smith and the Bell kid in there, how can you go a whole game and not get one foul? I'd get 2 or 3 fouls every 5 minutes. So, but maybe not that bad. But I saw several instances one time, whatever reason. I don't know if they rest enough to go back and shoot. Don't get enough. I'm not sure. Just one time Flanagan was standing there waiting for a rebound, and Bell's right beside him, and Flanagan just stands there. All he's got to do is block his guy out, and the ball comes over. Bell gets it, puts it back in. I don't know. On the free throw line one time, Morrell standing there, and 6 and under, 8 and under. We coach these kids block out the shooter. Tulu Smith shoots a brick, hits the rim, comes right back. Morrell, what's he doing? He just standing there. Tulu gets the ball, goes back, and there's another foul. So Morrell, all he got to do is block out the shooter. One time, Caldwell kind of stands here. He actually gets between the guy and the rim, but he just stands there. He should be going up as hard as he can and grabbing the ball. And if a guy's got his arm, come down. I didn't say break his arm, but I've heard that a few times. Come down hard. But what does he do? He stands there. Bell reaches over him, gets the ball, and puts it back in. Brakefield, one time down low, should have been blocking out, and he was blocking out a ghost or air. I don't know. The guy kind of fakes in, so Brakefield takes it on the rebound. The guy does a little spin move, and there he is, wide up layup. Just silly stuff that I saw. And these guys are being scouted by pros. They're wanting to go pro. I hate to be Debbie Downer, Donnie Downer, whoever Downer, but it's just these silly things that I see that Beard sees and the scouts see that just not happening. And we had a chance, so many chances. Our offenses, was pretty good to a certain extent, but we came back in the second half and turnovers and Juju. I don't know where he was. He was in the Bronx somewhere. He was turning the ball over and Brakefield slid down a few times. I don't know if he's doing an axle, doing some kind of speed skating thing, but it was several little things that are just silly. I apologize. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's a situation. I think that's the reason people are so upset about this game. Everybody expected Ole Miss to lose the game probably by 7, 8 points if you asked them ahead of the game. They thought Ole Miss could win the game, but the way the game played out, you thought at halftime that Ole Miss had all of a sudden a real chance to win this game, and then to have it kind of be taken away at the end, because this is problematic, and this is why this is problematic. Ole Miss went into this game needing to win probably 4 out of their last 6 games. I'm not saying the Joe Lunardi stuff and all that, because at this point it's still essentially made up names and numbers and basically done for clicks. But just trying to get to the NCAA tournament, you would think that Ole Miss probably needs to win 10 games. That's kind of the historical thing. Ole Miss needed to win 4 out of their last 6. And when you have the opportunity to play Mississippi State and to get a game that most people were chalking up as one of those L's to give you a little bit of margin for errors. I think that is why that hurts too much.
Yeah, we got to find some wins somehow. We got a couple, like you said, coming in South Carolina this Saturday. I think we can beat them if we play anywhere close to what we have been playing at home. We get a big crowd there. I think we can beat them. We need to. We really got to beat them. They're up there in the rankings, so that would be a good win. These quad 1, quad 2 wins. Jolin already talks about it. I understand we do need the quad 1s, and Bama coming in next Wednesday, I believe. It could happen. I mean, they're really, really good. They score about 100 a game, and I don't know if we can score that many or we can keep them. They may score 125 on us, but we could win that game if we get our stuff together. If everybody starts playing better, 3 months ago, discipline, blocking out, rebounding, discipline, setting picks, good picks, not moving screens, just simple little things like that that Beard was talking about months ago. It still ain't happened to 100% time, and it's just silly that we have to go through this and talk about the bad things. But I know Beard was talking about the referees, and he's right. Sometimes there'll be a play, and I would sit there and it would be Mississippi 1, Mississippi 2, and then they call the foul. How is that? They don't call the foul until it's several seconds afterwards. And the plays, one time Juju shot it, got his own rebound and put it back in, and they were still calling the first foul. What? I don't know. Beard said that, that some of the SEC officials, I need to look at these and look at the videos, look at this, that. They also, Beard, I'm sure he saw the missed blockouts and the bad defensive plays and all the turnovers. So he's going to have to rally this team. And like you said, we got to have some wins. We need 10 to be somewhat comfortable, so we won't have to go to the SEC tournament and win several. It just varies every year with who you are, how many wins you got to win in the SEC tournament. But if you get 10, I think it kind of takes be a little comfortable, and then we got to go in there at least make a showing. Win, be great to win 2. That would really make a big difference and make our schedule look better. But if we don't straighten some things out that I've talked about, that I'm sorry I've ranted on a little more than I normally do. It really frustrates me being a player that I know how Beard coaches. I know this is going to be the worst defensive rebounded team that he ever has at Ole Miss. So that's something to look forward to, but we still got several games here we got to finish this season.
And you mentioned it earlier. It's like, we're not exactly sure. Some people say Ole Miss is on the bubble, and I'm like, you don't know that. You can't say that because you don't know where the bubble is. Nobody knows where the bubble is. And there's about 100 games that can affect Ole Miss that still have to be played. And the best thing you can do is to make sure that you have a winning conference record. So winning 10 games and winning 4 out of your last 5 is important, even before Nashville. And try and play fairly well. Don't fall asleep and pay attention overly to analytics like quad 1 and quad 2. Just win your games. And in my opinion, if Ole Miss goes 9-9, whether or not they go to the NCAA tournament, that doesn't affect this. But I think this is a very good season if Ole Miss goes 9-9 in the SEC. If you want to go to the NCAA tournament, you're having the conversation. Well, I think you probably might need to at least win 10.
Yeah, let's just look at the schedule. Look at it. You talked about it a little bit. South Carolina, we need to win that so bad. We need it. If we could get Alabama, that would be awesome. That's the experts are there right now. I think they're leading the league right now. Got to go to Missouri, and they're playing really well. They played Tennessee really good. Was it Tennessee? Who they played?
Yeah.
They played them really well at home. So it would be hard to beat them up there. It's going to be hard. We barely beat them at the Pavilion. At Georgia, really be hard over there. And we got A&M home. So it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy. And if we don't correct some of the things that we've been doing, the turnovers and just bad play, it's not going to happen. We're going to be NIT bound. But hopefully, Lord willing, if Bear can get them fired up, get them rejuvenated, get some fresh legs, get the fire back in them. And I don't think they're playing inspired like they have been playing. So like I think you mentioned that they're not playing fired up, and they seem like they're slow. And
I think they're getting tired. They're wearing down.
Yeah,
because the only 8 or 9 players play.
Yeah.
And I think they're wearing down just a little bit.
And Brandon Murray, I don't know what's going on there. I really don't know what to say about him. He was really counted. He was going to be counted on. I think they thought he might even start. When they first recruited him, and he's fallen on bad times. I'm not sure if he's sick or hurt. And Caldwell occasionally he made a few plays last night. And Sharp came in. I was really pleased. He came in actually, act like he was ready to play. Got several rebounds and made a few shots, and he hit free throws. If him and really, all this other stuff aside, if Cisse and Sharp would come in there and both of them have good games and play hard and block some shots and not foul every time it goes inside, we could win some games. That might be the key. We talk about all this other stuff, but those two guys inside, if they could really play good ball and take each other's place when they get tired and not foul so much, that could be the difference the rest of the way, because we've looked at everything else and it ain't really worked. So those two may be the as I think about it, that may be the difference the rest of the way.
Thanks again for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Tim Thomas, Ole Miss legend, former player, getting ready for Ole Miss versus South Carolina in the Pavilion Saturday afternoon. Tim, thank you so much, buddy, and we'll see you next week.
Good deal. Let's beat the South Carolina Gamecocks, and let's get Bama coming in next week. I'm from Alabama, so that means a little bit more to me. Let's get a couple of wins. Let's get together. Let's get fired up, and let's hope that the baseball team will look a little bit better this weekend also.
Yeah, no joke there. Anyway, thank you very much, Tim. We'll see you later. Hotty toddy, buddy.
Hotty toddy.